talking about it. But first, before we talk about it, we're going to do what we always do before we get into it. We're going to crack the balls, baby! Cheers, everybody! Cheers!
Welcome to the Don't Talk About It podcast, where we talk about everything that we have spent our lives thinking we cannot say out loud.
Yes.
My name's Megan.
I'm Reyna.
And we're really excited to be bringing this podcast to you all. It means a lot to us. It's really dear to our heart.
Absolutely.
And we want to share a little bit about where the idea came from. This summer, we lost a really close friend, the two of us did. He died by suicide. Mm-hmm. And we got a firsthand look and a firsthand experience with something that nobody wants to talk about.
Yeah.
And we talked about it.
We did.
No one else kind of wanted to.
Yeah. It was hard.
Yeah.
But we talked about it.
Mm-hmm. And then one night, in a White Claw-induced fit of inspiration, Reyna turns to me and says, "We should do a podcast."
We should do a fucking podcast, Megan. I'm pretty sure that's what I said. And you know what we're going to do is we're going to talk about all those things that nobody wants to talk about, because for the last few months we've been definitely experiencing it more so in our lives, but throughout our lives we've definitely had our share of being silenced and feeling ashamed in secret, you know, like we're not allowed to share our feelings, you know, and you just stuff them inside. Don't talk about it. Shh, everything's fine. Move on. Get over it. Those were the fucking themes in my household. So that is why this podcast is very important to me, because now, as a 40-year-old, I feel comfortable. It's still uncomfortable, to be honest, but I'm feeling more comfortable of talking about things that I kept inside for so long. How about you, Megan?
Yeah, same. I mean, it's interesting actually, because as a profession, I'm a therapist, and so my job is to help people talk about things that they think that they can't talk about, or talk about the things that they're ashamed of. But in my personal life, less now, but gosh, especially growing up, I was just steeped in shame and steeped in secrets. You know, I mean, I grew up in a house where like everything was a secret, like generational secrets just kept, to the point that I was so obsessed with like trying to read between the lines or figure out like what is going on in this family, that I used to sneak into my mom's room and like open the bottom drawer of her dresser where she kept her journals and read them. Like, that is how badly I wanted to talk about things or know things.
Know things.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So your mom didn't share things with you either?
Not really too much. I mean, a little bit. There's certain things, like we had sex talk maybe a little too early. I was 6.
Oh.
So,
was it with your partner at the time?
No. My mom was, when she got pregnant, I just kept asking, like, how did the baby get in there? So it's weird, because some things were, like, way too open, and then, but there were just many things that it just was like an unspoken rule, like, we don't talk about this. I think I internalized a lot of shame as a result.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know, what was it like for you? Where do you think you got this, like, shame of talking about things from?
Oh, I mean, it was just the fucking common theme. Like, I tried to speak up many, many times as a kid, and nobody would listen to me, and nobody would do anything about some of these horrible things that were going on in my household. So I learned to be quiet and deal with shit, to the point where, you know, my mom actually shared with me a story of when all of this shit was going on. She recently told me about this story. So we were, you know, I'll just kind of dibble-dabble here, but the state was involved in our household. You know, we're custody of the state, and a caseworker came to my house, and my mom said, this is a story she told me, the caseworker came over, my mom had everything was pristine. So every time you go to my mom's house, it'll be super fucking clean. Everything will be perfect. And she had, when the caseworker came over, she had her 3-tiered fucking cookie thing with tea and shit, like ready to serve her, and just like everything looked so fucking perfect. And the caseworker said to her, you would never know. And then my mom was like, never know what? You would never know what goes on in here, like the horrible things that go on in here. And that is exactly the type of shit that I grew up with. Like, nobody would ever fucking know what we were all going through. I have 5 other siblings, and so 4 of those siblings lived in that household. But so throughout my life, there's been periods of just like being silent, shh, don't talk about it, and it's helped me. It definitely has helped me get to where I am. I don't know about you, but some of those things definitely kept me moving. But now it's fucking time, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing about the survival skills we learn when we're young. And I do think of the way that we respond to fear or shame or unsafe situations as survival skills. They get us through. They get us to this point. Like, we're both like successful people.
Yes, I'm a nurse.
I already said I'm a therapist, and you'll hear all more about that.
Yeah,
we're successful people, especially from the outside looking in, like good, quote unquote, like good on paper, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's inside still so much mess and so much that needs to be dealt with, because the coping skills that helped us survive are no longer useful to where we want to go next.
Right. They actually hold us back to where we were trying to go, because they're not needed anymore. We don't need to protect ourselves from, our parents.
Yeah, I think, I think it's true. I just think that's true for so many people. Yeah. Almost everybody I know went through something that required them to develop defense mechanisms and coping skills that make you turn inward and feel secretive and feel like I'm the only one, or I think this thing, or I feel this way and I'm really fucking weird. And it's just not true. Like, you're normal, you had to survive, and you're wearing armor for a battle that's over. And I kind of think about this as like taking our armor off.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like there was this, to speak to that, this poem, by this woman, what's her name? Where it's like, she's not breaking, she's opening. And that is exactly what I feel like I've been doing, is doing that, because I don't feel like when you are going through the healing process, or I don't feel like when you are sad or get brokenhearted, I don't feel like that is a breaking. I don't feel like that's a breakdown. I honestly have turned that around, and it's a breakthrough, because you're feeling something,
Yeah.
And that's I don't know, it's a great thing.
It's brave to talk about it. And I think too, like, something that I think is important about what we're trying to create and build here is that there's the, like, inside of ourselves, like, intrapersonal stuff that we're talking about, like our own journeys with just letting go of fear and shame around saying what is true. And then as women, we exist in a culture that, like, wants us to be small, wants us to shrink ourselves, wants us to be just less than we are, to not speak out, to not be too difficult, to fucking smile, right? And so there's, like, for us, some of the, like, need to talk about certain things that are difficult comes from having survived some really difficult things. And then you layer in, like, we're just women trying to take up space and exist in the world. And I worked in politics for 13 years. I still do to some extent. And I can't tell you how many older white men have just very clearly wanted me to be quiet. And you can feel it. Like, you, like, are in a meeting, you're talking, you're making amazing points because you're smart as fuck and deserve to be there. And then the meeting ends, and I swear this is, like, every woman I know that, like, works in that space. Oh my God, was I talking too much? Oh my God, did I say too much? Oh, when I said that, did I sound bitchy? And so it's like, no one wants to talk about their traumas, or
did I have a booger in my nose all the time?
It's like, sorry.
But then we think about what we look like.
That too. Yes.
Sorry.
Like, was I pretty enough? Oh, but then it's also like, was my outfit cute enough? Did I look slutty? Did I undermine myself with what I wore?
Yes. Oh
so this podcast isn't just about, like, we need to talk about the things that have wounded us, although we do. It's also, like, we just need to be allowed to fucking talk in general.
Yeah!
Without having to text the other woman that was in the meeting with you to ask if you talked too much. You know what I mean?
Yes. And a woman that you probably trusted because,
yes,
you know.
It's always me and my business partner. But I don't know, in the medical field, like, you're a nurse, you work with doctors. Doctors, I love you, you keep us alive, and, like, you are known to have egos.
Oh,
so what's it, like, in your role as a nurse, like, do you ever feel, or have you ever felt silenced professionally?
You know, great question, Megan. And I wanted to just revert back because Lauren Bowman was the poet, and I can read her poem later. But anyway, yes, there's definitely been doctors that I've come across where they're fucking assholes. One of the ex-doctors I worked for. But I honestly think, like, I just have a different take on it because I don't have that same experience with men like that, you know? Like, I'm on the other way, like, you're not fucking better than me. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? You're a doctor? Yes, that's awesome, but I'm a fucking singer. Can you fucking sing? No. Can you get up on that stage and sing? No. So there. We're all as one. You know what I mean? Like, we all have shit.
That's
so don't fucking, like, come at me like you're better than me. And
I love that. It's taken me years. I mean, I will not say obviously who this person was or the position that they held, but I will say we were peers, both appointed by the governor of our state to our positions, and he was very condescending to me, treated me like his employee, not his peer. And I pushed back.
Gross.
Like, I will always push back. It's just that I die of anxiety and second guessing myself afterward.
Yeah.
But this person said to me, listen, if I'm ever paternalistic, it's just because you remind me of my daughter. And I was, in that moment I said, actually, I already have a father and he's great and I'm your peer. Because he was just always mad at, like, anytime I would speak up, he tried to run over it, silence it, disagree with it. And so, like, that's kind of like the silencing that occurs, I think, in some workspaces. And I'm a white middle-class woman. Like, I have it easy. Whatever happens to me happens, like, a million times more to people that don't share this privileged identity.
And thank you for bringing that up, because that reminded me that when we were talking about this earlier, is when you're saying about all the things about what women have to deal with in society, and also as a woman of color, that's adds a whole nother layer of it. And then also, not only as a woman of color, talk about not fucking talking about shit. My mom would not let us talk about our color. She thought, why does it matter? Why does it matter that you're brown? Why do you have to describe somebody as black or Mexican or Filipino? I'm fucking half Filipino. My mom's white. My dad's Filipino. So we are the first mixed children on both sides of my family. And my dad is very Americanized. He's first generation, but very, like, rock and roll. Like, he's been in a band, like, since high school. Like, he's just loves the American lifestyle and the culture. So talk about, like, neither of them talking about, like, our heritage. And, you know, and it wasn't even till the last few years that my mom admitted that we were brown. So
we are going to have a whole episode on that, just so folks know. But, you know, I think
it's another thing that leads,
example.
Yeah, that leads into don't talk about what you look like, you know? So anyway, that's why this podcast is so, so important to the both of us. And to me, I will speak for me right now, because there's so much, I've been doing so much work in therapy, everything is just coming out, and I've been unpacking so much shit. And I think I'm learning so much that I just want to share with others, and I want them to have the opportunity to have that same space, you know, to, like, let it out and talk about these things, and, like, in a safe space, you know, because we are helpers, we're therapists, nurse. I mean, We do, and we just want to help, and we're here.
I have a question for
Yes.
you, and it's like not on the outline, and we didn't talk about it in advance.
We have this whole outline right here we're looking at.
So you can feel free to edit it out. But as I was listening to you talk, I just found myself wondering, like, what feels different to you now that you are unapologetically talking about things that you have always been silent or silenced around in the past?
So, what's changed for me is I just feel so much lighter. It's, I don't know, and just realizing that people, like, people are there, and people do want to listen, and people do fucking care. Like, I've kept my mouth shut for so long, thinking nobody cares about what I have to say. Even when I was a singer, I didn't even invite people to my shows because I didn't think they'd want to come listen to me sing. Like, this is how fucking traumatized I was for being silenced my whole life, and I'm a singer. So it's just, once I started talking about it, like I literally first started talking about it with my therapist, and she listened to me, and that's all she did was listen to me and validate me. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah. Okay. Like, people, like, you care. Like, I have something, you know, and then as I keep sharing with others, you, my sister, my friends, like, we all have these things that we just keep inside, and you think you're alone with these thoughts and these feelings and emotions and these stories and everything, but you are, you're not. And that is what's so freeing.
Yes.
Ever since I just started opening up, because I'm like, we can connect on so many fucking levels. It's like beautiful.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I've found, because I spent so much time protecting myself from any form of vulnerability, so was a fun person, like good at staying on the surface, and I've always been somebody that has a small handful of like really intense friendships, but even then wasn't always talking about like how I was really feeling. And since I've started doing that, I just find my relationships are so much more meaningful.
Yes.
And especially like navigating like a recent trauma with a group of people who like we're just so lucky to have in our life. Like, I've just felt like an internal softening and like release of the need to control everything that comes out of my mouth and every thought and every outcome. And like with the increased vulnerability, like paradoxically seeming to me has come increased feelings of safety. And so I mean, I just wanted to ask you that question and also like share my take, because I want the people listening to just really think about that. Like, increased vulnerability comes with increased safety from the people who are truly there for you. Like, they will catch you, and we will catch you too.
Yeah.
You know?
We will catch you. We're here. We're fucking here. Dare to be great, right? Like Brene Brown. That's right.
Yeah.
I
think dare to lead, dare to
dare
be great.
to greatness, something.
You know, Brene says a lot of things.
She does, but her whole fucking thing is about vulnerability.
Yeah.
And like, I was always like, no, I'm that fucking chick. But no, I am so vulnerable. I'm just like that little girl inside that wants love. And that's how we all are. We are all these big children walking around.
It's so true. And when you start to, I mean, I will say that is one thing that's cool about being a therapist. I'm always just kind of like, what's your attachment style? What are your attachment wounds? Am I getting an adult version of you or the young child? This is the young child. You're a child. I can't be mad at you. But
we
anyway,
are just like these little
good old BB. She's always got good quotes. Well, should we let the people know what to expect from us?
Absolutely.
Okay, so our next episode, we're going to do a deep dive into destigmatizing mental health challenges, diagnoses, behaviors that come along with those things. We're really excited about it. And in the coming weeks, we are coming for period shame. Fuck you.
On my period right fucking now, actually.
And
hoping I'm not bleeding out. That's always a fear of mine.
Well,
I'm sure everybody else has it.
Okay. Reyna, nothing, you're good.
Nothing's coming out of me.
Jesus Christ. Okay. And we'll also be coming for body shame, body dysmorphia, shame, Botox shame, all
Oh my
forms
gosh,
of shame.
there's
Like
so
we're on
much.
our way to get you. And the
Yeah,
other thing,
fuck shame.
Yep,
Fuck you.
it doesn't need to exist.
No, it doesn't.
And the other thing we wanted to say is that we would love to create a space for listeners to get things off their chests. And so at the end of the episode, we'll share our email address, and we would love you to send us via email or DM us or whatever you want to do, your thing that you think you can't talk about. We will never put you on blast. We will never tell your secrets out loud. We just want to know, like, what are the things that y'all want to hear somebody talk about because you feel like you can't, so that we can share those stories anonymously, so we can take on and talk about those topics. And we're excited about that.
We're so excited about it. Just like to get it out of you, you know, like just write us an email or DM us, like that is what. And then of course, like Megan said, we will definitely protect your identity. You're anonymous with us. Like you don't have to worry about that. I just want you to get it out of your being. You know, I don't want that weighting you down anymore. And once you get it out, I swear, and once you hear us talking about it and like normalizing it, because I guarantee you it's fucking normal, you're gonna feel so much better. So,
and I'll just say, like, of course this podcast and our email are not HIPAA compliant, but I'm a therapist, she's a nurse, we take it real serious. And I will also just guarantee you there is not a damn thing I have not heard in my office. There's nothing she hasn't seen or heard. There's nothing that you could share that would shock either one of us. So truly, your secrets are safe with us, but we will talk about the topics around your secrets on the air.
Yes, but with love and gentleness and all of that. Yes. So, so Megan, you want to share with them our info?
So, thank you so much for tuning into this introductory episode. We can't wait for you to listen to episode 2 on mental health. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. That helps us get some ratings, to move up in the ratings, and will help other people find us. And you can find us on Instagram at sh_don't talk. Sh is SHHH_don't talk. And you can also email us. You want to tell people our email?
So you can email us at info@shdon'ttalk.com, and the sh is with those 3 H's, y'all. Yes, and then we're going to have a YouTube channel coming up. I don't have it on there yet. This is our intro episode, so, but
we'll get around to it.
We'll get around to it. This episode will actually be on it. So when you see this episode on YouTube, please like it and subscribe to it and promote it, please, because we just think if everybody shares this, I mean, just imagine you can be a part of like something fucking amazing.
Yep.
So we're excited. All right, well, Megan,
Reyna,
a little pearl of wisdom, shall we say?
Do you have one?
I mean, I am, so I would like, my little pearl of wisdom is, you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of those thoughts. So just think for a second what that would mean if you just took a step back and just listened to your thought. That is you. You are not the thought. You are the one listening to that thought. So that is my little pearl of wisdom for tonight.
Love it.
Yay.
I think that's the perfect place to end.
Mr. Eckhart Tolle, y'all.
All right.
All right, y'all.
Good night, everybody. Again, rate, review, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Yay. Bye.
Bye.
Yay.
I think that was really good.